People say, oh, Esper Dragons is so good, but I really think Gobs on Aggro is enemy #1 in the room.
I think for right now, yes. Yeah, of course, metagames do shift quite a bit, but I think for right now it is, as we are underway here in game number 3. Just a mountain there for Carrillo.
You see Mann's hand looks like he has a pair of Drowning Sorrows, a Thoughtseize, and then some lands.
Well, here's a Thoughtseize off an Urborg.
That's a hand I'm happy to have against Mono Red.
Magma Jet, a Stoke the Flames, a Hordling Outburst. And it looks like 2 Dragon Fodders here as well.
This hand is going to be hard-pressed to beat what Steven's doing.
Yeah.
And because Steve has these copies of Drowning Sorrows, I'd expect him to leave some number of token makers in here.
Yeah, I'm almost... I kind of want to take Magma Jet.
So there's 2 camps here. You can take Magma Jet and try to just really mess up Jonathan's draws. I would actually be a fan of taking Stoke the Flames here, just because that's the card that will get you in the end.
Okay.
Like, what could happen is you take some incidental damage off Dragon Fodder, you take some damage off your Thoughtseizes, and like 4 turns down the road, the card you're really going to want to take is definitely Stoke the Flames. And I think that's why you see Steve making the same play.
Well, there's land off the top, which allows Jonathan to play Dragon Fodder, so 2 Goblin tokens on the way, pass that turn back. Timely draw step there for him. Mann will draw.
So how is it being able to play an entire tournament where you just used your own tokens
It
all
wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Selfishly, I enjoyed that.
So people have asked me if I ever had a token, what it would be, and I would say I'd want to have a Deceiver Exarch token, but then people, just so that when I win with a combo, I would then just reach in my bag and pull out like a stack of 30 of them and just throw them all on the table and then be like, okay, and then scoop them up, and then we'd be done.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Now, I wonder if... It looks like there may not be a follow-up here. Okay, so it looks like Carrillo's just going to leave with Magma Jet. I thought he might play another copy of Dragon Fodder, but he's not going to. Now, here's Drowning Sorrow from Mann. So he's just going to trade 1 for 1. Drowning Sorrow's going to trade with Dragon Fodder. He's going to leave the top card on top from his Scry. And speaking of scrying, that's what Carrillo will do now after resolving a Magma Jet.
Yeah, Mann has to aggressively use the Drowning Sorrows in this matchup, just because life total is such a concern.
I just don't want to take any damage. There's Impact Tremors.
I mean, this is why. Like, this card is so terrifying for Steven. It's, you know, remember that he left a Dragon Fodder and a Hordling Outburst in Jonathan's hand.
Yep. Well, now the race is on. Here's a Siege Rhino.
Well, that's what Steve wants to do. The best way he can mitigate the fact that he'll get burned out is just by playing something that's good and aggressive here. Siege Rhino is perfect.
Got ourselves a Hordling Outburst, 3 Goblin tokens.
And Siege Rhino is perfect in just about every matchup. That was one thing I did like about finally not playing Obs on Colors is, boy, this card's unfair.
Yeah, it's really good. It's just a really, really good card.
I kind of felt dumb playing it. You know, like, it's not... I'm used to these cards that have this finesse about when do I play them. And you know when you play Siege Rhino, it's when you have 4 mana, you tap them, and then you say Siege Rhino.
Just cast. Don't forget your trigger.
Just right.
Just cast it.
It's always good.
It's really powerful, so just cast it.
You see here, and when you get 2 of them, like, this is really unfair.
Yeah, they're really hard to block. Swift Spear is going to come off the top of the deck. That'll trigger the Impact Tremors. Mann's going to go down to 16. There's another copy of Dragon Fodder in hand we know about, and a Lightning Strike. Those are the last 2 cards in Jonathan's hand. But nothing that Carrillo has cast this game is as powerful as Siege Rhino. The pieces together can help to beat a Siege Rhino or 2. You know, that's how Red tries to beat it, is a combination of cards to beat Siege Rhinos. But individually, Siege Rhino is more powerful on a 1-for-1 than any card the Red Deck's going to cast. That's what makes it so. That's what makes it so hard to beat.
He is the pound-for-pound champion of the standard format.
And you know, if you're playing a Red deck, you need to have a timely roast to get that stupid thing off the table. Now, looks like Mann is going to do some blocking here. He's deciding if he wants to block Swift Spear or a token.
Remember, Mann still has that second Drowning Sorrow that he hasn't cashed in on yet.
There's Lightning Strike. In combination with the Prowess trigger, those 2 are going to trade. 3 damage will come across. But you mentioned the other Drowning Sorrow. And if Mann's got that in hand, which we believe he does.
2 Drowns, 2 Rhinos is pretty perfect here.
And it's great against any style of Red deck. There's Thoughtseize.
I mean, and that's a show of strength that Mann can be casting Thoughtseize this late in the game.
Yep. And now here's the Drown. Urborg helping to facilitate all of this, making it so Mann doesn't have to use Llanowar Waste for black mana, anything like that. Gonna decide where he wants to leave the card on Scry, but Carrillo has no cards in hand and just an Impact Tremors on the board.
At 6 life, it is going to be hard for him to piece together plays that can win this. It would start with him top decking a Roast.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Just getting the Siege Rhino off the table. And then, you saw Mann scry the top card to the bottom, so then you have to hope that Steve just kind of draws pretty poorly.
Yeah, Carrillo draws Roast, then maybe draws Hordling Outburst, and now we're talking like he has a shot.
Yeah. It's going to take a string of cards. Just passing the turn's not going to help.
Now, interestingly, and it's something I just want to note here, he's on this mono red deck. Now, he's on the Impact Tremors version, but if you looked at Grand Prix Paris last weekend, 2 red decks in the top 8, neither of them splashing for Atarka's command. They're actually just both on the mono red version.
There's a morph. It's a Den Protector, by the way. That gets back Siege Rhino, which is quite powerful. That's land number 4 and an extension of the hand. Steve Mann is going to win game number 3 and this match here over Jonathan Carrillo. 2 games to 1. Obzon Control will take care of mono red aggro. Siege Rhino is a pretty powerful card.
Yeah, the Crash of Rhinos strategy, just you survive until you can start making Siege Rhinos, is good against just so many decks.
Steve Mann off to a great start. Came in this tournament with just 1 bye, number 18 on our Season 2 leaderboard. Of course, 1 through 16 gets 2 byes. 17 through 32 gets 1. So Mann, a player, again, who qualified for the Players' Championship, made a deep run into that tournament. Haven't seen him that much this year, but it looks like he's going to start traveling again.
Yeah, Mann and other players, we talked about Todd Anderson earlier, who, as this season progresses, he's going to lose a lot of his points from last year. And if he wants to stay in that 1 to 2 bye range, I mean, he's going to have to work for it.
Yep.
I think right now, one thing that's